And welcome back. Well, Milwaukee author Nick Petrie did a great job creating the fictional character Peter Ash. He's even been compared to Jack Reacher by Lee Child himself.
Yeah, Peter Ash is a Marine Corps vet who struggles with post-traumatic stress and yearns to get better. And in this, the fourth crime novel in the series, Tear It Down, Ash finds himself in the dark underbelly of Memphis, a place that the average tourist never sees. We are super happy to welcome back Nick to the yellow couch for what? This might be your third time
I think so. I think so.
That is awesome. Great to see you.
Yeah,
thanks so much
see
for having me
Tiff
back.
saw your book in the
Denver Airport. I was pretty excited. I went to Denver this last weekend. I was kind of moseying around one of the stores, and I was like, Nick Petrie, yeah, he's going to be back on the show this week. It's pretty exciting. Do you love when you get to see your book somewhere, or you see someone reading it, or you have that moment of like, wow, I'm making it?
Oh, absolutely. It still is honestly very surreal to be walking through an airport and to see something with your name on it. As a friend of mine refers to me as the 25-year overnight success.
That's awesome.
To be at the point where you see something that you spent so many years working on, sort of show up in the world is really something.
I like that.
How many years have you been working on this character, this series?
This is the fourth book in the series.
Yeah.
So the character I've been working on for probably 7 or 8 years now. The books have come out once a year ever since the first one landed, but the first book took me quite a few years to write. And now I'm on a book a year sort of schedule, which is a blast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's pressure, but it's also, you know, it kind of keeps you focused, and I find that it helps not to overthink, and I am generally somebody who overthinks a lot.
Do you believe in writer's block?
I try really hard not to believe in writer's block. I read something great not long ago about that writer's block is really a failure of confidence, and that it's really about sort of not trusting yourself and your skills. And the other thing is that you can get burned out, right? So you also need input, right? Writing is output, so you also need to read. You need to suck in stories and news and things that kind of help feed that weird little creature inside you that tells stories.
Well, how do you not get affected by what you're reading and you know, just, I guess, subconsciously even include that in your own writing?
Well, when I first started, everything I wrote sounded an awful lot like Ernest Hemingway. And I think that happens, but the longer I've done this, the more everything sort of sounds like me, which is kind of the goal.
There's less cats.
Yes.
Hemingway had all the cats, you know.
And also too, you know, you need different voices, because the goal is that, I mean, in Tear It Down, I've got different sections are told in different voices of different characters, so you do want to have other voices come in to give your story some life.
Yeah.
What do you like to read? What's your input?
Oh boy, I read the New Yorker every week because the language is great, the prose is great. They always have kind of a strange take on something. There's a piece in the latest issue about there's this young kid from, I think he's Dutch, who's trying to clean up the garbage patch in the Pacific, and he's developed this contraption that didn't work very well, so now he's going back to the drawing board. So I like stories about people out there in the world. So that's kind of my nonfiction buzz. What am I reading? I'm reading a book called Takedown by a guy named James Swain, which was recommended to me by a bookseller in Memphis. And it's all about the people who are trying to rip off casinos in Vegas. And this is fiction. But the author has this huge depth of knowledge about all the different scams. And so it's this blizzard of ways that people, scam casinos and weird little grifts, and it's a wonderful read.
Yep.
Interesting.
Love it. So you mentioned Memphis, and your character obviously goes to Memphis as part of this process.
Right.
Did you go to Memphis? Did you visit Memphis? Because clearly you were there if that's where you met this bookseller. And was it in part to study for this book?
Oh, absolutely. For me, so every book takes place in a different location. And for me, it's really important to go there to really get a feel for what it's like. And I learn things that you don't learn, from Google. It's very tempting as a writer to to sort of spend your life on the internet, but it is not a substitute for the real world. And to go into to smell the flowers rotting in the gutter from the flowers that have fallen from the trees, which is not a Milwaukee smell.
Right.
And to sort of see what those neighborhoods look like, the kudzu covering everything. I really am a believer in real world research.
Experience.
Yeah.
Did you read a lot as a kid?
Absolutely. I read a book a day for probably 10 years.
You got a deep dish pan pizza for that.
Well, I didn't have a rich social life, so.
That's good. Good writers probably don't have, you know.
But now you get to travel to a city for every year for this book, so now you do have a social life.
Well, I did have a social life, but so all my friends wanted to go to the football game, to the basketball game, and I am not a big sports guy, so I would bring my book. And I got no end of grief from my friends for I would read my book.
It's a little nerdy.
But then I could get to go to the party afterwards. So
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good balance, I think.
Well, nobody ever accused me of not being nerdy. So.
And that's a good
Nerds
thing
are cool,
in
man.
today's age. Yeah. Congratulations to you on the success of your books and this 4th edition. You have a book signing tonight. We want to let people know about so that they can meet you, get a copy of your book, Tear It Down. It's tonight, 7 p.m. Books and Company, which is located in Oconomowoc.
There's also a Spotify list that goes with the book,
yeah.
so check that out.
If you're on Spotify, search for "Tear It Down" by Nick Petrie, and it's all the music. There's a lot of music, Memphis music, in this book as well. So it's all the music that one of the character plays in a set list.
And it inspired your writing.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool that you have
for being
that.
here
Thanks
again.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I
Come
appreciate
back.
Look forward to seeing you in more airports.
Yeah, book number 5. Come back.